So that is the absurdity.
I
have a lot of big men at the AU secretariat, some of whom I've worked with in this area of diplomacy and security.
Yeah.
And I know after the show they will, as usual, attack me. But the reality is that we can decolonize the AU by refusing to go for foreign funding and by also rejecting any seductive offer of foreign aid by the AU.
But how is that possible? Because the
it's
AU...
very possible. The AU shouldn't be a profit-making...
components or the components of the AU they are usually the cronies of these foreign nationals.
So that is why I use the word decolonize.
Right.
We have most of our organs at the AU and the people manning them who are puppets on the strings of imperialism.
Absolutely, yeah.
So how do we get the situation solved? Let us get these idiots at the AU outside there, all right? They are idiots so that...
How do we fish them out?
What do we do? All we need to do is to say that we're taking our presidents who claim they are better should go at the head of state conference and agree that we are committing a percentage of our GDP to sacrificial works of the AU. That way, a lot of those people there will actually... A lot of the people will actually leave. Because a lot of them seated there are there because of the huge budgets on their decks and the money they will make. If that attraction is not there, they will leave. And right-thinking people, I can volunteer with my knowledge and expertise to work for the AU for life without salary. I can volunteer. Yes. So long as I am part of a team willing to volunteer and sacrifice to make a new African dream work, I can do that. We have our farms, we can do. Our wives will eat plantain. Our children will attend state schools and they will flourish. I attended state schools. I even sat under trees in the primary school, and even sometime in JSS, I did. Yet I am what I am by grace today. So if we decolonize the AU and fund it ourselves, then the AU will have a very strategic and research technical committee. All we need to do is midnight meetings, bringing our theory and concepts on the table. How do we counter the whites?
But they are watching, so they now know what...
Are you getting
They
it?
now know the strategy.
No, they all know the modus operandi. We've always known they have the CIA. But who knows what the CIA does? You don't even know the agent. I could be dating you today and you're a CIA agent. It has happened in this country before.
True.
Under Rawlings, it happened where a senior state official was dating a CIA person. Thanks to love, at some point, we had every information.
Love conquered all.
Yes. So if we are able to do that, and I'm just being measured so you can have some 5 minutes to do your messages. If we are able to decolonize the AU, then things like this will rather be secret information, secret ideas as to what we have to do. Now, we don't have to fight anybody. We simply need to bring to an end all forms of new security partnerships, the security pacts. Then we decide that we are going to industrialize Africa through economic integration. Do you get what I'm talking about? Through economic integration. How do we integrate economically? We look at the economic sectors of Africa and start with 1 or 2 areas. We can decide that we are integrating only the extractive sector. Europe, the European Union is the model of regional integration, but you know what they started with? They started with economic integration using 2 things: coal on the one hand and steel on the other hand. That's all, and that's all they have anyway. And we have all of these things. We can integrate only in the agri sector so that we can create a compelling market here. That compelling market will force them to come, and we tell them we are not selling things to people who want to take it out. We sell our products to you only as you are willing to establish the plant here, the China method. And after some time, we will give a condition that 70% then of the workforce must come from the soil. So that the 30% they bring from there, the 70% of our engineers joining them will actually tap the skills. 10, 15 years, most of them resign. We set competitive industries, win competitive advantage, okay, and we'll naturally undo them in business. We're not going to loan from IMF again, but collectively through the AU Economic Commission, we can begin to service the debt we have with the IMF. They can't come and kill all Africans if we say that we are not taking loan again, but our debts we can't finish paying in 20 years, we are finishing it in 100 years. There's nothing they can do about it, sweetie. Are you getting what I'm talking about? You see, there are a lot of things we cannot say on air if national government wants to listen to us to be able, but it's so doable. Malaysia came and copied our framework and they did it. Singapore came, copied our framework and they did it.
They're way ahead.
And now they are way ahead. Why can we not do that here? So we need that collective voice, because even before the formation of the AU, all these hypocritical political groups that existed through imperialism are still the ones making the AU also a toothless bulldog. Not only the economic aspect, we had what we call the Casablanca group. We also have the Monrovia group, and we even have the Brazzaville group. And on another occasion, I'll be able to teach the details of these things. But those groupings were carefully engineered on ethnic or lingual basis to ensure that Africa is never united. If we iron out all of these things, then the true essence of Pan-Africanism, a lot of us hear Pan-African TV, Pan-African this, Pan-African that, it simply means a common system of values that makes the rest of the world see Africa as one. But so far, is Africa seen as one? No. We have our own internal issues up and down. If we are able to do that, then we can have a potent force to forge ahead. But you are not economically active. You are not militarily strong. Right now, this conference they are hosting there, I can assure you that even the security detail have colonial partnership. So you are just empty. So this is just a grammar speaking conference they have gone, unfortunately. Yes, it's a positive sign out there to boost morale, but in terms of technical potency to attack the rise and the surge of imperialism, I don't see it doing up to 1-2% of the effort we need. So my advice shall be that we need both grassroots, communal, and, if you like it, multi-level governance approach to the situation. And that is what the Peace and Security Council of the AU should actually be interested in. And that is what our blockheaded presidents should begin to attend extra classes on. Then we can be sure we have a continent that will grow. But I wish them well.
You should have been there, because
I wasn't invited. In this, you know, people who are not experts in these areas are the ones who want to be on the camera. So they run to go and do all the work without really having the technical knowledge, philosophically and conceptually, to be able to spearhead good policy.
Well, even if this kind of engagement is not tackling, you know, the actual issues and the intricacies of it, I just feel like it's a form of advocacy, just like you just said.
Yes, it is. I'm actually working on launching, I'm still at the paper stage, a regional institute. I'm still working on launching a regional institute of global and public affairs that will tackle issues of regional policy in terms of regional security complexes, the political and democratic governance structures in Africa, security and economic integration. I hope I will have adequate resources to be able to have that done. Then I can marshal a machinery of positive Africans to what I think should be the definition of democracy and good governance in Africa. I believe that machinery will support in advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elvis Botha. That has been a scholarly submission. I'm just seated here, gripped with all attention, and I hope you're learning as well. This is in relation to the historic conference happening in Niamey, in Niger. And our very own Comrade Kwesi Pratt will be speaking a tad later. And we'll be picking a live feed from the conference live in Niger. But you have some comments, messages coming through. Let me read a few of them and we cross over. Tell Honorable Botha, he's honorable, yes indeed, that we are really proud of his deep knowledge on issues tabled before him. He is an epitome for we the youth. Okay, God keep him well. Thank you very much. This one says that, good morning, I'm Albert Akoli from Weja. Really enjoying the lecture of Bota, if I'm getting his name right. I love him, his submission. He always speaks non-partisan. All right, thank you very much. More messages coming through. Good morning, Ohemaa. I want to tell you that those who said Mahama is Tenny, so they are not going to vote for him during 2016 and 2020 elections, curse themselves if they vote for Bawumia, because Bawumia is also Tenny like Mahama. They should read James 3 verse 6 to 10. The matter chop hot. Know what the Bible said from Amos Asinfusu. Thank you, Amos. Quite interesting morning today. Today hasn't been a conversation; it has been a lecture, a priceless one, because people pay sums of money, to attend such insightful lectures. This one said that Dr. Elvis begin to write books. This is an advice to you. Begin to write books because you cannot talk all. All right. Good morning, Ohemaa. Sure. Thanks. This one, okay, from Francis. Okay, Francis, thank you. We've seen your messages. Let's do some text messages. I'm enjoying Doctor's submission very well, but what about the English language? What has the English language done? Yeah.
It's a colonial language. That's what the person wants to say.
Oh, so should we?
See, the whole essence of decolonization doesn't mean that we are becoming enemies with. You see, what it is that we will look at what is coming from them.
Yeah.
If it is good for us, we adopt or adapt it. If it is bad for us, we reject it.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
The English language there. At this point, I don't think we can do away with it.
But Africa has the potential actually of using Kiswahili as our language, formal language, yes, which is
Swahili.
African, yes.
Why not English?
Kiswahili.
Kiswahili.
Yeah, that's actually the correct thing, but a lot of people call it Swahili. Yeah.
All right, this one says, good morning. Please, I would love to have the number of Dr. Bota. I like this guy so much that I want him to be my friend. He's a man. He's a man.
Then my wife will not be angry, so we can give that to
yeah. Gershon. Okay, Gershon, thank you so much. Okay, our WhatsApp messages also keep flooding up. Now, it says, good morning to you and your panelists. This is Adam Kola from Tamale Central. All what MPP is planning will not save them, because
but who discusses
now
MPP?
it is not. Now it is versus Ghanaians, so they will go back. Oh, please. I will really appreciate it if you construct your messages very well, clearly, audibly, clearly and precisely. Now, let me do this last one, and maybe we can touch on our next topic until we cross over. So, Mystic from Nsawame Duadre says that why is it that economic issues is conspicuously missing in Dr. Bawumia's campaign messages? Because he is known for theoretical economy. He is known as a theoretical economist, and he has lost credibility. He is not an alternative and has nothing to offer. The tried and tested John Mahama is coming to rescue Ghanaians from the hands of this nepotistic nation wreckers. The Dumso situation in Nsawame Duadre municipality is getting out of hand. All right, so thank you very much for sending in your messages. You can keep them coming. Since we haven't crossed over yet, we'll just touch on our next topic for discussion. And interestingly, yesterday, the headquarters of the Bank of Ghana was inaugurated. And it was quite interesting. Yeah?
It was yesterday?
Yeah.
I see.
It was yesterday. Now, the president at the event said that the economy is on recovery course. Are you in agreement with that?
Okay, so there is one reality. Whilst what is said is true, or may be true. The reality is that we are no more interested in either the fall or the recovery of economies. When we say an economy is recovering, it means that it was once sick. You know, if I tell you you are recovering, it means something was fundamentally wrong with your health.
Yeah.
And you are now coming out of it. But you are just being restored to what you were. Probably not better. Can we look at economic transformation holistically? If we can have economic transformation holistically, then you will realize that we will be able to scale off mediocrity of the unnecessary economic jargons like we are recovering, the economy is growing at a faster pace, when it is in disconnect with the reality of the citizens of the nation. You see, indeed, we must be able to applaud government. I'm not saying all the time we should criticize. We must be able to applaud government that a mess was created, and now, considering the latter part of 2022 and 2023, compared to what is happening today, yes, there is a recovery, which means that very prudent measures have been taken. But if you subtract the element of this IMF package from those measures, you come to the realization that domestically we've done very little to see the kind of recovery we are seeing. Because if things hadn't gone properly managed at some point, the dollar, as bad as it is today, would have actually been worse. The dollar would have hit over 20 Ghana cedis by now, I'm telling you. So yes, a lot of work for those of us who are pundits in this domain. We know a lot of work is happening. Kudos to the new finance minister. I believe that if we had even changed Ken Ofori-Atta much earlier, the situation could have been better. So the president would have had a better legacy to talk about yesterday beyond just the recovery. But everybody was calling for Ken Ofori-Atta to go, and it was only the president who saw him good. And I believe that that is where the biggest problem came from. The outright incompetence and in some cases practical arrogance of Ken Ofori-Atta and his people culminated into over 50% of the woes we have suffered economically. Amin Anta is doing very well. The man, I pity him, he's my very good friend. Amin Anta, the good honorable doctor, does not sleep. And so we can't talk about the recovery without crediting him. We can't talk about the economy. Look, let me blow out in a few minutes on this. Ghana's economy would not even have suffered the kind of things we suffered if we had listened to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as a government. I'm not, you know my stance, I don't do cheap politics. But frankly, the truth everybody is running away from in the NPP is the total neglect of the views of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia as vice president. As leader of the economic management team, his novel ideas, his intellect, which he thought could be put to bear, was mostly, in a case of 8 out of 10, rejected by people who thought that those kind of ideas will not do well for their self-seeking agenda. This is where the problem is coming from. You have you had a finance minister who felt entitled and important and relevant than the vice president who chairs the economic management team. Clearly, there will be asymmetrical power dynamics at play at the group or team level. And this is the fate Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia suffered but cannot talk about it. It is why his campaign messages looks hypocritical and why we all know but blast him sometimes. His campaign messages look, hypocritical because people are like, you've got all these good ideas, because clearly when it comes to superior ideas, in terms of messaging, it's him in this election.
I mean, we saw that in the 2016.
And we saw that in the 2016.
Yeah.
But why didn't it come to fruition? Because they were neglected. But because of the element of diplomacy in housekeeping, politically, you can't talk about it. So that's why he's now saying that when I am my own man, when I am my own driver.
So reason why he
But he can't come and say, look, I was undermined, I was betrayed.
Yeah.
So you give me chance.
Reason why he figuratively said that he is the driver's seat.
Yes, it was an intelligent statement, pregnant with a lot of triplets and quadruplets.
But Ghanaians are
he doesn't want
that.
to behave like William Ruto of Kenya, who fought his own people, and today we are seeing what is happening. Bawumia is trying to charter the path of humility. He's closing a door, but he wants to shut it gently. But I can tell you that even today, some of the appointees and their godfathers in the NPP still think that if he wins and is man of his own and pursue the dream he wants to pursue for Ghana, they won't make money. Those people are still sabotaging the campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. NPP don't want to talk about this. I will talk about it.
So there's enmity among the NPP.
There is sabotage from within the NPP itself against the man. But the reality is
for what
that
reason? I mean, if you're all looking
three things. Some people think that some people are like, when did you join the party? You see that? So the argument of competence is not. No one till now is saying Dr. Bawumia is not competent. They will ask, but Obadaben, that's number one. As though longevity in the party is the way to go. Number two, others actually think that he's an extension, and this is those who are so angry like me with the current regime. Said no, he will be an extension of Nana Akufo-Addo.
But obviously,
are you getting it?
We can't even.
He will be an extension. But I am hinting at something.
Yeah.
That much as you think he will be an extension, what happened to his ideas that they didn't see the light of day? It was because elements around President Nana Akufo-Addo didn't want to hear Bawumia and his superior ideas. It is why we are still talking. Let's not run away from our topic. It is why we are talking about recovery at a time Ghanaians cannot still feed. It is why we are talking about recovery at the time Ghanaians cannot still rent. We are talking about recovery at the time parents cannot pay fees. We're talking about recovery at the time transportation and food prices are actually inexorably high, when we had an opportunity to do transformation with the ideas of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Perhaps the only singular reason I would advocate for a chance that if we were to be caught between the devil and the deep blue sea.
Yeah.
Okay? Are you getting it? Better to dine and wine with fishes under the ocean than to hug the devil. You have Mahama and you have Bawumia. I still think that, like I said, if superior transformative ideas is anything to go by, I will fall for the sermons of Bawumia, on condition that if he becomes a man of his own, he will be able to fire incompetent appointees and corrupt appointees, which Nana didn't do.
Do you think it's possible for him to be a man of his own? It's
possible. Being a man of your own don't come at the price of money. It comes at the price of what? It comes at the price of principle. So it is possible. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
So if the NPP loses this election, the reality is that it is the NPP that can lose an election, not the NDC winning an election. Because the messaging of the NDC, look, how many days to elections? They've still not been able to explain the 24-hour economy. Remember, I was the one who helped them in the explanation of the 24-hour economy. The videos went out there, I got lashed. Yes, very good concept, but politically, they've not been able to break it into how the man and the woman in Tangasie will benefit. How the man and the woman in Natok will find expression in 24-hour economy. There is no pattern. You can't say this is the vision Mahama have created. That's my anger with the NDC. We've sat here and we've criticized our own government, gave you all the ideas, and you cannot even build a meaningful. All you say is that we'll come and make things better. You come and make what better? And every single recording of these our candidates of the past is contradicted by their own stance of the present, both of them. Are you getting it? So Ghana have gotten to a stage where, frankly, like I said, caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. But I think that at the end of the day, I will speak the truth to my party, the NPP, that the hypocrisy must stop. Stop pretending as if you are supporting Bawumia when you are sabotaging him. Stop pretending as if you can be like Dr. Botta, right? If it is red, it's red. If you are not happy with Bawumia on the matter, come and blast him. Talk to him. Tell him in the meeting you disagree. Let them sack you from the meeting. When you get yourself in the media, talk about it and be objective in the interest of Ghana. But don't be there. You are following the man, making money from his campaign, sleeping in hotels with girls who are not your wives, and you are actually sabotaging the man. That is where my anger is from. That there are elements who think that even if he becomes president, his record can beat the record of Nana, and so they don't want him to.
So economic is just as a result of the disregard
greed within the NPP and the total disregard of Dr. Bawumia's ideas. I'm saying this today for the first time. I haven't said it before.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it out of any motivation. I'm saying it out of the truth. I've been a deputy national organizer and at the National Executive Committee for 4 years. I've sat at National Council for 4 years. Okay, I am privy to a lot of things. And I'm saying that if we had listened to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and allow him go work the way he should work, because the man came into office willing to work as a technocrat and not as a politician. But people caught up in the wealth-making agenda in politics feel that we shouldn't give him the way. You notice Bawumia is not also the first president or presidential material who suffered this. Professor Evans Atamil suffered same. In the case of Bawumia, it is the president and or some people behind the president who are the saboteurs. In the case of President Mills, it was the vice president and some saboteurs who stopped him. I'm using the word stop. They stopped him. In boxing, to punch down your opponent perpetually, the term stop is used. So if I give you a punch, technical knockout, I've stopped you.
Yeah.
So they stopped President Mills. So now, fortunately, we have the players under Mills and the players under the scenario of Bawumia at play in the 2024 elections. I think that if Bawumia can promise being a man of his own, man, the guy is the best generational president we should have. If he can promise that I will be a man of my own, I will crack the whip, I will discipline the party, I will discipline the government, I will discipline the system and do what is right, his ideas will flourish. But if he comes with the ideas and we still have the same elements who bedevil this regime, being the one giving sensitive positions, forming cabinet, and labeling others, then he will fail. If there is any important message Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would give to seal his victory in this election, it should be the news of being a man of his own. I believe he can. I believe it is very possible.
In different ways.
Yes, so he should come clear. He doesn't have to be diplomatic about it. You see, he should let us say it. We will say it. The truth of the matter is that I believe that the economic management team was a rubber stamp. Some people who were not part of it were more powerful, and it is why this government failed. I'm very angry at the failure of this government. We had, if the NPP had achieved...
It's to say that Dr. Bawumia was just a ceremonial vice president.
If you call it so.
And that his efforts were not put into consideration.
Yes, not significantly. Not significantly. That's the reality Dr. Bawumia himself will not talk about.
But is there a guarantee that when he, supposedly becomes a man of his own, the structures already put in place which favors, the sitting government will not work against him?
They will not be able to work against him if he's a man of his own. You have power. The Ashantis have a term for power called Tumi. I love that word. I don't speak Twi, but I love Tumi.
Yeah.
If the Tumi is at hand, the man should be able to crack the whip.
Right.
Are you getting it? You are the philosophical king. The power rests in you. Use it well. You see, he can blend the Rollins kind of life with his show of humility. And when people are silent but principled, they are feared than even those who make noise. Discipline is all Bawumia will need in his team to work things better for Ghana.
Yeah.
So we need that assurance. If that assurance doesn't come, then I'm sorry. And Ghanaians should be sorry. My advice to my uncle Bawumia is that in these last days left, I know his heart. Yeah. I know his hidden pain, which he cannot talk about, right? But he should let a bit of it come out in the assurance that I will break from the shells of the past, and I will rebirth myself as a snake winds off its shell, and I will stink and bite when I have to do, regardless of who is involved. If Bawumia can give this clear principle in his national campaign, this victory is his. In spite of all the odds, he will win, because the NDC have failed to mount a more formidable campaign. That's my anger. Remember, I said this election was a penalty for the NDC, but unfortunately, the man to kick may not be able to strike it well. You get what I'm talking about? If NDC is not careful, what Asamoah Gyan did to Ghana, which World Cup was that? I don't really like sports. What was it, 2010 or 2006? One of the games, but there's the popular story of how Asamoah Gyan got Ghana buried. If NDC is not careful, your mama will bury them on this penalty. Are you getting it? So I wish Ghana well in the elections. I pray for peace. This election is not worth the life of any young Ghanaian. So I'm calling for peace, and I'm advocating for a lot of vigilance. Ghanaians should go vote for a lot that brings transformation to our children, transformation to our economic woes beyond just the rhetoric of recoveries. We don't want to recover, we want to transform. Economic recovery is one thing, transformation is the other.
Right.
And let us get it well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, this is still the newspaper review segment on Good Morning Africa, and we're having quite an interesting time, insightful conversation submission from Dr. Elvis Botha. And you can be a part of it. Just send a message to the number that has been displayed on the screen. And we will get it out there for you. But also, we'll be queued very soon to, go to Niger. We'll be taking a live feed from there with regards to the historic conference happening in Niamey, in Niger. And our very own Comrade Kwesi Pratt will be speaking very soon. But you speak of, Dr. Botha, you speak of vigilance, you speak of peace. This brings us to our next topic. Some implements have been seized by the custom at the Tema ports, which includes 53 pistols, 74 magazines, and live ammunition. And looking at this period of time and these things coming into the country, how do we, combat it?
Okay,
because people
first of all,
are determined to do what they want to do.
Yes, this election will not be as peaceful as other elections have always been. The 2024 elections will see a lot of violence, pockets of it, but God will see the nation through. You can take that one as a prophecy. But then, interrogating this subject, first of all, I want to know the person they got these things from. Is the person a licensed ammunition and weaponry dealer? If yes, there's nothing wrong with it.
Right.
This is why sometimes I have problems with the media. Are you getting it? But if it's been illegally brought in, then by now I'm sure some arrests must have been made. Why can't we press the balls of the person who brought them in? You see, there is truth in every man. The problem is what pressure will bring out that truth. Now, to the most stubborn man under the sun, if you hold his balls, not the kind of pleasant holding a woman like you would do, we need a serious military commando to hold the balls of such a person. Forget human rights. Let's squeeze his balls till he speaks the truth, what his motivation is, and the purpose for which he is bringing in such. Idiots like that bring these things in at a time they have flown their families abroad. A gullible idiot in the village who is hungry and whose mother is still sleeping on the leaky roof is the one who will wield these weapons to go and fight for a party that doesn't know you. For a party, you won't be a cabinet minister. Now, hear me, Ghana. Anybody with appropriate credentials to serving an appointment under any presidency will never take a gun and go and fight. Any ministerial potential will never take a gun and go and fight. You won't find any MP with a gun on the streets fighting, or their children. Don't die for any politician. We are not good people. You do us good today, we forget you tomorrow. Don't die for us. Don't die for us.
Yeah.
Let politicians win elections on their superior argument in terms of policy and transformation. We are at an era where grammar doesn't help this country. We need genuine leadership. We need true leadership. Whether it will come from the NDC or from the NPP, we need accountable leadership. A leader with seriousness to make a lifelong legacy of transformation, growth, and prosperity. Not one who comes and rent and everything that makes living good is bad. The average Ghanaian, 70 out of 10 Ghanaians are mental health patients because of hardship.
According to
Charlie, you are broke in all angles. Look, they are chasing you over school fees, chasing you over rent, chasing you over transport bills. You can no longer buy fuel. Your little land somewhere you want to develop, a rich man have gone to take it with land gases. Your document doesn't matter. What kind of a system is that? That doesn't work. That's why I'll keep advocating. Let's hang corrupt people and get the right thing done.
But violence is not the way.
No, it's not violence if you are killing a corrupt official.
It's not violence.
No. It's benevolence to the state.
It's what?
Benevolence to the state. If you hang corrupt people, let's pass death sentence on corrupt officials. If I am president, no case of corruption should do 72 hours in court. If the case goes today, open defense, maximum in another 2 days, you are just sitting on that matter. The fast-tracked high court should be able to do that. If you are guilty of corruption, from the courtroom, we hang you. If we know the international community is watching, we take you to Insawam, poison your food for you to eat. You fall sick that night, we take you to the hospital, and make sure you die on the way before we get to the hospital. Period. Corruption will come to an end. It's just as simple as that. This is what we need to do.
What kind of punitive system is this? That's, I mean, it's extreme.
It's not extreme. What is extreme is that the activities of these people who are amassing wealth, they can't finish spending.
So
are killing the rest of the state.
To the high crime.
No, okay, let me if you have someone.
Will you add that to the list of
what?
Those high crimes?
Which are corruption?
Yeah, corruption.
Corruption will be a treasonable crime if I were to be president. It's a treasonable crime. You are stealing what belongs to me. Okay, let me give you an example. Someone have bought V8 for his girlfriend. Do you know the number of boreholes in that V8? The girl is driving and doing Snapchat in that car at the expense of 50 communities that would have gotten potable drinking water from that money. Because she's sleeping with a politician who has had the opportunity to steal. This is what our politicians do. I know a lot of them, and I can expose them if they challenge me.
Now you've even started.
Are you getting it? I can expose them by means.
There's an expose going on the show.
Are you getting it? That stop buying V8s and stop allocating cars that should be meant for important things to women. Girls, how can your wife be driving a Corolla and it is your side chick who must drive a Land Cruiser? And if the Land Cruiser is coming for your pocket money, I don't have a problem. My problem is if some money is meant for boreholes or some school buildings are swindled to do same. You get what I mean? So such a person, if you hang him, have you not killed the killer of the communities who would have otherwise gotten water? Depriving 50 communities drinking water. Look, when I was contesting parliamentary elections, by the time in 2020 alone, I commissioned about 48 boreholes. Why? I wasn't doing it just for the votes. I expected the votes in appreciation. But the primary objective was to fix a social issue in the Nadoli Kaleo constituency. And it wasn't my first time drilling boreholes. That money was not government money. Are you getting it? But I sacrificed. I'm still paying debts accrued in the 2020 elections. People closer to me know that I've never been the same financially again after the 2020 elections. Why can't our politicians be that benevolent? Why can't they be that benevolent?
Right.
So let's kill politicians who are corrupt. Once it is established you are corrupt, and your own admissions have led to a prima facie evidence that you have some contribution to the issue, we hang you. Even if you were not to be the one who spent the money directly, for failing in your oversight responsibility to ensuring that the right system works, Massa, you must be hanged. Let's stop celebrating independence, and every CIFMA day we hang corrupt public officials. Let's hang corrupt contractors who share the money with politicians and do bad roads, bad works and housing. Let's kill them.
Elvis is a retributive leader.
I am very retributive. Are you getting it?
He's a retributive.
You see, until you kill few in the interest of the state, few plunder the state. Until you kill them in the interest of the state will continue dying. I believe that we weed out 30, 40, 50 people, kill them, and create a cemetery of shame and bury them there and save the rest of the population. It will be better. It's going to be better. Even if your husband were to be part of them, I'm going to kill him and chop his body into pieces and bury at the cemetery of shame. Nobody should mourn you. We catch you mourning, you will join them. Why are you mourning the wicked? You don't mourn the wicked.
Right.
So we can give birth to many children who will get up having the hope that Ghana will rise. Is it the Canadian embassy behind us here?
Yeah.
Anytime I'm coming to Pan Africa from East Legon, I pass there to come. Do you know I am always tagged there? Look at the queues people form just to have visa to leave a useless country. Yeah, we are leaving a useless country into the cold. There's nothing good about winter. Yet we want to go there because our economies are not transformed. And we are talking about. So peace is critical. And to have peace, we must prepare for war. What is that war? That war is to target people who are a danger to peace and kill them. It's just as simple as that. Until this killing happens, I tell you, Ghana will not survive. 50 years from today, when you are getting into your 70s and 80s, I know how young you are. you 50 years from today, sweetheart, you will come back here and be hosted by someone on corruption and those things. China is China because they've forgotten what human rights is. What is your right as a human if you are abusing the right of others? They are killing them. Look at all the even the US, with all their hypocrisy as a democratic nation, there's no nation that is intolerant than the United States of America. They are very intolerant to corruption, very intolerant to things that stand their way. Why can't Ghana do that? Let's do that. And let's also give certain powers to Parliament to be able to easily impeach a president who is not also performing.
Right.
President of family and friends, and they think the rest of the nation should go to the cemetery and leave them to flourish and blossom. Parliament should have basis to one hot afternoon impeach a president and lock up his cronies who are engaged in the syndicate of theft and clefts. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Look at how our system is monetized politically. It is arising from this. Empty-headed guys have had the opportunity to steal a lot, and they are now using that to buy votes. You get it? So we have, when they say someone is a klept, that's a thief.
Yeah.
Are you getting it? So we have a system of governance called, yes, we have something called kleptocracy. It's a form of governance of the thieves. When they steal enough, because most of them are choboy guys who lack sense and knowledge, they now begin to engage in kakistocracy. That is government of the weak-minded. So intelligent people like us will never get there because we don't steal to buy power.
Right.
You get it?
Yeah.
Good.
Let me just take a few messages. It's getting interesting here. We're privileged to have on the show Dr. Elvis Botha, who is a learned and well-spoken doctor of philosophy, am I right? In the area of
International affairs and diplomacy.
International affairs and diplomacy, and that has been evident on the show. Now, this one coming through says that Ohemaa, I'm very surprised to hear Elvis overly and blazingly supporting Baumia and in the process lambasting the NDC. Can he sincerely compare the records of the 8 years of the two regimes and say that the NPP is superior? I used to see him as an objective personality until today. It's obvious it's because he's alone in the studio, because he doesn't sound like when we have other senior panelists in the studio. Abdulaziz Akra.
Is Abdulaziz talking?
Yeah. You know him?
Let's move on.
Okay, this one says that good morning, Ohemaa and Dr. Elvis. Tell Dr. Elvis he's the right man in the wrong party, but I don't get something. Why is it that weapons and ammunition are always intercepted during election year or months? It just doesn't add up. I'm Meshi Dixon from Ho. All right, Dixon, it doesn't add up to us as well, or for us. Good morning, Ohemaa. I think Mr. Elvis is making sense. I read a book with the title Murder in the Interest of the Church, and There's No Crime in Killing Corrupt Politicians. Francis from Techiman. Okay. Hi, please. W01 Tete. Please give me doctor's number. I beg you. Please try for me. Call doctor, give my number to him. Okay.
Has he given his number there?
Yeah, that's what he used to send the message.
Okay, so you can get that for me.
Yes,
I'll text him.
We'll do that. Right, thank you for your message. New one's coming, says that please try and send me the telephone number of Dr. Elvis. Hey, Dr. Elvis, today you need a database of... Well, we have to create a database of your admirers for you. Okay. Right. This one says that I side with Dr. Elvis on the punitive measures for corrupt government officials. Eben Koforidia. Good morning, Ohemaa. He has won my respect today. Okay. Thank you. Let's do some text messages. This one is saying that the idiots in the MPP that brought the guns, and rather saying that it's the NDC. They said will win the election by all means and ways, and that they did it in 2016 and 2020, and they will do it again this time. And I want them to know that whatever that will happen to anyone in Ghana will also happen to them, the politicians and those who did that, and their entire family, because they have parents, wives, and children. Okay. This one says that the HOD for economics is saying he is the reason students are passing ICT. Doctor is the HOD for economics. Esla Wusu is the HOD for ICT. At a time, the economics HOD told us previous HODs were not performing. The economic indicators of the NDC are still better than the indicators of the NPP, as they are preaching now. Kipo Elijah Kab Bakari, a radical youth activist.
He's my brother.
You know him, man.
In the wrong party.
They're saying you are in the wrong party.
He texted me a few minutes ago and told me I was the right man in the wrong party. I should leave and join Ernest Botha, my senior brother, who is also lost.
Your brother is in the NDC.
The one I follow directly,
Okay.
he is in the he contested Sola on the ticket of the NDC,
right.
and I contested in Adoli on the ticket of the NPP. And
so he lost in the
yes,
primaries.
he lost in the primaries.
Okay.
Of course, if you belong to a party that is used to defeat, you always lose. So, and as Botha's defeat,
there are a lot of people requesting for your number. We'll make
they can just go to Facebook, fish me out there and give a messenger.
Right.
Text me via messenger.
Okay.
And I will respond.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got that. You follow Dr. Elvis Bota on Facebook. He's the only Dr. Elvis. The Dr.
I don't
Elvis.
use the title on Facebook.
Why not? It's hard end.
I'm
you
not
have
a
to
fan
use
of
it.
titles.
No, you have to use it. You didn't acquire it for
You
nothing.
see, the reality is that you have a lot of doctors who, when they start talking, you begin to wonder where they had their doctorate from and what kind of doctorate.
Some are honorary.
So I believe in you being a doctor or not should show in your substance.
Yeah.
Just
I agree.
as simple as that.
I agree.
Yeah.
I will still address you as that. So. Right. This one says that, hi, Ohemaa, your panelist is speaking my mind. I wish he is my friend. Corruption is like stealing my future and the future for the generation yet unborn. Okay. From Hello Richard in Akachi. This one also says that you indeed won my respect. I am Brother Notna. We need to talk, please. Okay. And this one says that, please, I love your guest submission very well. I love your guest submission. And that's from Kwewu Kotoso. Let me do a few of the WhatsApp. Quite interesting ones coming through. This one says that, hello, good morning. I really love Mr. Elvis. Can I have his number? Razak from Prang. Okay. Says, good day. Ohemaa, do you trust the police to ensure peace after failing to deal with MPP thugs armed with guns and military uniforms to shoot voters in Ayawaso, Techiman, Boko, and other parts of Ghana? How can we take them seriously when NPP thugs attack the courts with impunity? The police must stop paying lip service to security and lead by good examples. Indeed, whoever trusts the police and EC does so at his own peril. Interesting. Very interesting comments coming through, but let's wrap it up with our last topic, which happens to be recent happenings when it comes to feeding of senior high school students. And there has been an allegation against the Ministry of Education of providing these students with expired weevil infested rice.
Why did that happen?
Why?
Where?
Some senior high schools report, and some, students individually, social media stories, among other things, news updates featured these videos. And sometimes you engage some of the students and their parents, and they tell you that they aren't pleased with the food that is being served. Sometimes even what is due them is, isn't given them. And it's quite worrying. You're in school, you're expected to go for dining, and you're told that the first batch has eaten and the second batch will not have food, so the rest of you should find food in your chop boxes. I mean, it's quite worrying. I
am receiving reports that a lot of people are texting that they can't hear us.
They can't hear us.
That there's no sound. I don't know if that is the case.
Wow.
Yes, if you just go to your Facebook or YouTube page, you see the comments, no sound, no sound, no sound. I think the technical team should fix that. Yeah. Okay,
I think it has to do with the transition to Niger.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it didn't start now.
Yeah, they said that was earlier. So
we can move on now.
So let's wrap up with that because we'll be crossing over
soon. Okay. Yes. So I want to be very straightforward that weevils, that's on a lighter note, weevils in our beans didn't start today. I ate some weevils in Damango Secondary School, and I know someone who ate a lot of weevils at Sunyani Secondary School. I also know someone who ate plenty weevils at Queen of Peace Secondary School, especially around 2012, 2013. She ate a lot of weevils. My wife attended Queen of Peace, but I'm not saying she's the one I'm talking about. Kalila is not the one I'm talking about. Now, for how long will we keep doing this? Now, our sons and daughters and little ones are also eating even more weevils. Now, this is one of the bottlenecks of the free SHS system. There's no other argument on this. The free SHS system, very good, a revolutionary program, but came with bottlenecks that need critical redress. And one of the issues is the concern of its sustainable financing. Government is putting billions of cedis, but a few regimes, especially the food supply system, remains a huge headache for parents. And you see, when kids don't eat well, their health is endangered, and that will undermine every single academic gain we want to achieve. But over the years, the buffer stock system was supposed to establish a framework for the supply of quality, nutritious food to these schools.
Yeah.
But one of the reasons for the failure in this regard is because buffer stock became a political entity, awarding the contracts to people who don't even have the means to supply foods to these schools. That is number one. So you will find them selling those contracts. The guy have won the contract and he's selling. Then you find another person who have won or gotten most of, not won actually, dashed some of the contracts on whatever grounds. Those contracts are sometimes dashed. I have never taken any. The reality is that they supply in huge quantities, and for 1 year the guy is not paid. What should they do? They either stop supplying or they begin to supply in few quantities just to manage cost. Then the headmasters and teachers of these schools are suffering. St. Basil's, Kaleo, Sectec, Queen of Peace in my constituency are suffering. Unfortunately, we are not even in places like Accra where the PTA is able to push money sometimes to help. Parents actually go. Yes. Yeah. And some of the institutions, the alumni associations, put in a lot of money into feeding. In Nadoli and Kaleo, Tapo Secondary School, we don't have an alumni. We don't also have a rich background of parents who forms a PTA. Can you imagine what those kids are going through? You get what I'm talking about? Let's put our eyes outside Accra and look at rural Ghana. That is the reality. So government will have to look at the feeding supply system and maybe decentralize that to the secondary schools rather than buffer stock awarding the supply contracts. The centralization of it is a problem. Number two, it will be unfair for us to talk about this without even talking about the very challenging one. As for SHS, they are even a little grown. The real chaos is the school feeding program at the basic schools. Ohemaa, a lot of our people who are supplying, for 2 years now, I know people who have not been paid. I can mention names, especially from the upper west and some parts of the north, who are not paid. What should they do? So it results into the stoppage or poor quality. Now, government should be credited for actually increasing the amount allotted per head for feeding, but unfortunately, that appears to be on paper. People supply and don't get paid. How should they feed these people? This is where the problem is from. So the supply chain of, having these things happen is critical to quality. If we don't go back and address bottlenecks within the supply chain system, then we're going to have an issue. Let's decentralize it and let's make sure payment is what? Is speedy. Government should stop taking unnecessary credit, and we've increased capitation and we've increased per head of feeding and yet you don't pay the poor man and the poor woman who have gone to take rice and oil on credit to go and feed these children. Yeah. You see someone struggling to feed their own family, yet she's fed thousands of primary school students and government have refused to pay the person. Yet our ministers are so corrupt that when they let their own entities win contracts unduly, some of those contracts are actually even paid before execution. Yeah. So why can't we do that to the poor man and average Ghanaian getting contracts out there?
Right, Doc. Thank you very much. We have been enlightened on the show, if you ask me, apart from, what's happening in the country and being objective with his submissions. We've learned a lot, and we can see that reflect in the messages that we are getting. Let me read a few messages and then we cross over live to Niger. Now, dear Ohemaa, I almost said Dr. Ohemaa.
Yes, Dr. Ohemaa is a prophecy.
Very soon. Dear Ohemaa, to be frank with you, Senior Bota is always 100%. The NDC has all the messages to Ghanaians, but it seems they are just going round the usual rhetorics. Now, NPP never again. We are so angry and vigilant. Ibrahim Loco. All right, thank you very much. Hello, Ohemaa. Please let Elvis know that some of us always abandon our revered TV stations for Pan-African every Thursday to watch him and the other selected personalities. So we entreat him to remain the Elvis we have come to know and love, and not to be seen to start coercing us through his eloquence to vote for NPP in spite of their monumental and shambolic performance. Abdul Aziz again, he's the same one.
Oh, Aziz is getting, my good brother is getting me wrong. I've not advocated for votes.
Yeah.
Let me make it very clear. There was a particular subject I said when it comes to the element of messaging, if it is just about the talks, then it will be Baumia.
Right.
But it goes beyond that.
Right.
Aziz should call me afterwards.
So that has been clarified, and you rock for always choosing us to bring you in-depth analysis, insightful conversations. My name is Ohemaa Agyekum, and this has been the newspaper review segment. Thank you to you, Dr. Elvis Bota, for always heeding to a call and, just shining, because you are a star. And we will be crossing over to Niger to get a live feed of what's happening in Niamey at the historic conference where our very own comrade Kwesi Pratt will be giving his submission. So do stay and enjoy.